What is up, heroes? Hi, guys. I feel like it's been so long since I've been on the YouTube side of things. So let's jump into some announcements and catch up with each other a little bit. But we are talking about Spider Man Brand New Day. That is what's going on in his life. So we will get to it. But first, let's go through some announcements. Okay. So, hi, guys. I know I haven't been over on the YouTube Live era in a minute since X-Men 97 came out, which I want to say that my episode 4 through 6, 4 through 7, I think, yeah, 4 through 7 actually drop tomorrow. I'm going to be recording and editing them, so they'll be coming out between Monday and Tuesday. I won't say tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday. I am getting back on schedule. I know July was a shakeup for me. I had a lot of fun on my I had a lot of fun on my, vacation, so there's that, and, now we're back into the swing of things, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm bringing you guys the content that you want, the content that you need, that kind of thing, but, yes, so let's go through it. I will be talking about X-Men 97. I am going to watch Batman the Crusader, season 2, but I think I'm gonna do a full synopsis of it, like a full season drop and not, like, episode by episode. We will be talking about uh ugh. Oh, indie comics. Okay, so this has been in the works for a while since I did the video where I was talking about the DC boycott. I am getting ready to start up the indie comic shout outs. These are going to be public. I already said this over on Patreon, but if you guys want on Patreon, I am going to start to do comic reviews, but I am going to do Marvel comic reviews behind a paywall. We will be gardening or participating with Cheech and Chong. I don't know, y'all. Yeah. But we will be doing that. We will be doing that. So, with that being said, it will be behind a paywall because we can't do those things over above a paywall. So, yes, if you would like to participate in that, if you would like to get the those reviews and blaze one with your girl, we can do all of those things over on my Patreon. Over here, yes, Saturday Morning Heroes is coming back. Yes, we are doing Men in Black. Yes, it is coming next Saturday. It will be here next Saturday. Come rain, sleet, or snow, on next Saturday it will be out. I don't think I have anything prospectively. Excuse me. I don't have anything planned right now as of right this second, as far as extracurricular stuff. So my whole August is y'all's. Like I got some parties to go to, but that's not something that should affect what we got going on. What we got going on, okay? So I should be here all August with you guys. I'm really, really am trying to get consistent, which I felt like I was in a groove and then we went on vacation and my groove went left. So now now I am at the point where I'm just like, no, we're gonna make sure that we get this together, get this going. So yes. I am really excited to bring you guys those things. Of course Percy Jackson is coming back. I did do a Percy Jackson at San Diego Comic Con video over on my Patreon. It is not free. Okay, so let me explain the Patreon. I don't necessarily like to promote it because I don't really want to promote anything that's not necessarily free. Cause I love giving you guys free content. But here's the thing. I like some stuff, like personal stuff like that I do, like personal vlogs or like I did a makeup haul over on Patreon recently. Like those kind of things, that kind of stuff is gonna be behind a paywall. But like anything that I feel like is, we can watch together, anything like that, it's gonna be over here on YouTube. So you kind of have to you don't have to be a part of the Patreon, but you do kind of miss out on things. But also I make sure that I, give y'all free content or make sure that I am getting out free content for you guys. Let's see. I think those are all the announcements that I have. Yeah, we're gonna do a X-Men live probably for the last episode, probably. I gotta figure that one out. But yeah, I'll probably do a live watch through. It'll probably just be me, but yeah. to wrap up the season and everything, which X-Men has been crazy. Oh my goodness. And I have so many comic references to bring you guys. So that's one of those things that I'm really, really excited to bring you guys. But let's go ahead and jump into Spider-Man Brand New Day. First of all, fantastic episode. Oh, excuse me. I'm so used to doing TV shows. First of all, fantastic movie. Fantastic movie. Fantastic movie. I'm sorry. Okay. It's a lot of people who didn't like it. I loved it. There were things that I did not like, and we're gonna talk about it, but I loved the movie. I thought it was great. But let's jump into Brand New Day. So I do have notes, but right now I don't necessarily need my notes, but when I do, I'll go get them. So I think the first thing that I noticed when watching the movie, first of all, it felt like we went on a Thursday, by the way. So excuse me, no, I went on a Wednesday. I was able to secure early tickets from Amazon Prime. This was not something that was like exclusive. Anybody could have done it. I don't know why they didn't put out the notifications more to everyone, but it was something that everyone could have done. So there's that. But also yeah, like I went on a Wednesday. We went Wednesday. It started at 7. Of course, I got my popcorn bucket, as you guys have seen, and the popcorn bucket thing was it was just confusing, but I got it, whatever. But what I will say is, we went to Phipps Plaza, and I usually go to Madison Yards, and I'm gonna tell you that I like Madison Yards more than I like Phipps Plaza. The Dolby area doesn't have steps or like a ramp or anything. So you're just like when people walk in, you feel them walking in. And you're already kind of sensitive because the Dolby is shaking the goddamn table. So it just was like, okay, I don't necessarily this isn't my favorite. Madison Yards is my favorite. I do like the way they do the Dolby area. So moving past that, the opening of the movie is so cool because you actually see like the memories and everything of Ned and of MJ and Peter and everything. So you actually get a glimpse of what's missing from everyone's head and how no one remembers Peter. But, as we go into the opening, we actually find out that Peter is actually doing a really good job of being Peter Parker. I mean, we see him and it's, establishing that he has leaned further into the Spider-Man aspect, and Peter Parker has taken it back to who he is. And I think it's really funny because when you look at No Way Home, you see like Andrew's Peter talks about how he kind of started only being Spider-Man and he no longer was Peter Parker, but he also talks about not pulling his punches. And that's something that we don't actually see our Tom Holland Peter Parker do. Like he is definitely being the best neighborhood friendly neighborhood Spider-Man we could actually ask for. And I love it. Because one thing that I do like want the one thing that I did want from the Tom Holland Spider-Man what I did want from the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies and franchise was like I wanted to see Spider-Man be a good Spider-Man cuz that is a big part of who Peter Parker is. Like of course Peter is willfully and always, Peter Parker is willfully and always going to be a grief-stricken person because of everything that happened with Uncle Ben or in this case Aunt May. But I do think that it is very, very important for people to see. I'm sorry, I'm playing with the mic, y'all. I just trying to yeah. But it is very, very important for people to see that he is a good Spider-Man. Like he actually gets the job done. And so we see him kind of going through the motions of taking out and we see like a lot of we see a lot of villains. We see a lot of the Rose Gallery, which I thought was really good. Cause we see Tombstone, we see Scorpion, of course. Who else did it sucks because I saw the movie like a few days ago. But like, yeah, we actually see a lot of people and we do see like and what I will say is this has felt like the most comic booky Spider-Man we've ever gotten, especially with Tom Holland. Like it like the stop motion, everything, like even playing with the 3D effects, all of that just it felt like a comic book, and I loved it. I truly, truly love that portion of it. Um, but we also see that Peter has a routine, and we also see that Peter isn't truly, truly alone, while I think he does feel alone. Excuse me, I'm sorry, y'all. We don't he doesn't seem truly, truly alone, but I do think that he feels alone in this situation, but he has Detective DeWolf. And they, to me, seem close enough that he's like speaking to his kids, he's speaking to her kids, and like he has a rapport with her. They almost have like a friendship. And I think, yeah, it might be a Spider-Man friendship, which I feel like there are things that in the comics, there are things where it's, like, strictly Peter Parker, and then there's things that are strictly Spider-Man, like, yeah. So I do feel like, yeah, this is a Spider-Man friend, but Spider-Man has a friend, right? Someone he cares about who cares about him. Because like, let's just be real, if something happened to Detective Wolf, he would be upset. He would be very upset. So I love that he does have this rapport, and DeWolf is a character in the comics actually very early on. And she is quite on the Spidey train, like, even when people are like, "Oh, that damn Spider-Man and J. Jonah Jameson is tearing him down," she is on the Spider train, so I think that is really nice that they added that touch. I loved it. Let's move on. So, we do see that Peter does go to see May pretty often. I know that this is like the opening is kind of over 4 years because like once we get into the story, we see like Ned and I keep wanting to call that girls and Zendaya. Ned and MJ have basically they have graduated from MIT. And also shout out to MJ for having a aeroscience engineering degree. Cause come on. And before that she was biomed. Like, yeah, engineer bay. But I thought it was cool because like they did tell us that Ned and Peter and MJ all would have gotten into MIT had, the world not found out that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. But I think it's interesting because they never necessarily told us like what exactly like what they were good at or where they were smart at, and we just knew they were smart because of the school they went to and because of the teams that they were on throughout the other movies. But, like, they actually say, "Oh, no, she's a blah, blah, blah engineer," and I'm like, "Okay, okay, okay, MJ." Like, oh my god, it was a lot of that. I was like a kid in a candy store watching this movie, by the way, all while the Dolby speakers shook my goddamn seat. I'm talking about ass shaking and I ain't twerking. But but yeah, so it was really, really, really good. Moving forward, let's see. I'm trying to do it without my notes, but I'm going to go get my notes because I kinda wanna talk to y'all. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Alright, here we go. Um Okay, so this is something that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with like the movie, but well, yeah, it does, but it has something to do with like the framing of the movie. I thought New York looked very different, and I want to say that it does remind me of the Fantastic Four, New York. Like it just felt real close. Like outside of the fact that New York is really tiny and close, it felt like the Fantastic Four New York from, like, the Fantastic Four movie, and you can kinda tell they don't film in Atlanta anymore, like, yeah, it looks very different. I don't know, like, if the overhead or if, like, the street view is, like, stock or anything like that, but it just does not look the same from the previous movies, and, like, in my head, I was like, "Well, we got a different director," but I think we had different directors on most of the movies. So, I just think I'm gonna blame it on the fact that we don't like, they're not producing the movies here anymore. Let's see, we saw in the we saw in the trailer that we saw in the trailer that Peter actually keeps up with Ned by watching his social media, which I thought was funny because it's just like, yeah, yeah, you would. Like, I mean, and it's completely anonymous because as long as you not like liking stuff and retweet, Like, he wouldn't know. And even if you did, he'd be like, "Who is this Peter Parker nigga?" Like, so it doesn't really matter, but at the same time, I thought it was sweet, and I thought it was sweet when they showed it in the trailer. Um, so, we actually come into the movie the timeline is a little wacky, but we're gonna go into it. We actually go into the movie where, um let's talk about, the first attack on the DODC. So the Department of Damage Control, has this weird not weird, the Department of Damage Control does not do their jobs in the new in the Spider-Man movies. Because mind you, the Department of Damage Control are the people who locked up Spider-Man, MJ, Aunt May, Ned, and everybody else in No Way Home because of the Mysterio shit. So the Department of Damage Control they've kind of had it out for Peter and anybody's superpower for a while, and it's really interesting because like they're getting attacked, but this isn't the first attack, and I don't know where Wonder Man falls within Brand New Day, but if you recall in the Wonder Man show, the DODC in I guess Sacramento, I think it was somewhere up there was attacked. So this is like the second in like who knows how long, but we're seeing a trend, right? And I thought it was interesting that when like he goes through the metal detectors and everything, like they actually have weapons to take him out. I thought that was very interesting. Correct me if I'm wrong, but because I've only seen the movie once. But I think the person that Sadie Sink's character jumps into at the end when the helicopter actually takes off, but the last person, I thought it was, I'm jumping all over the place. That Sadie Sink's, character jumps into at the end. Wasn't that the director of the DODC? Like, the one who was trying to get, Trevor to turn on Wonder Man? Like, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's him. But, yeah, so he was there, and on top of him being there, he gets taken over, which I thought was, good for you. And then at the end, like, he was like, "I love you, Spider-Man," and I was just like, "Isn't that the same nigga that locked him up?" Yeah, I think so. So, I'm not sure, but I think so. I'm gonna go back and see the movie so I can yeah. But anyway, I wanna talk about, the first time seeing Sadie Sink, and, like, what's really interesting is that in the MCU, we are leaning heavily into Peter's I don't wanna call it the spider tingle, but we're leaning heavily into his spidey sense, and I love it because, yes, that is exactly what, it tends to keep Peter safe and is very helpful and is not something that you can ignore, which I feel like they didn't necessarily ignore them in the Raimi movies or in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies and Amazing Spider-Man. I just think that they didn't know exactly how to depict it, and at this point, we are in a place where technology and filmmaking process has become so, blazing and great that now you can depict the Spidey sense. And I love that they lean heavily into it because absolutely they would. Like, and because his Spidey sense at this point has kept him safe in 2 movies. Because if you remember, well, not necessarily safe, but we see it, that's what it's there for, to keep him safe. Because remember when Doctor Strange was trying to take the spell away from him and he had pushed his physical embodiment and his spiritual apart, his body was still moving with the spell. And at this point, with Peter and his regular senses, he can actually see the character who is jumping out of, different people and into it. He can actually see that it's changing their personality. I do love the fact that he has apparently built his own AI, which is called Evie, which I love. But also, like, of course, because I mean, all of the Stark tech is down. Like, there is no Stark AI out there anymore since, it was confiscated. Um, okay, so we do see, after everything goes down with the DODC and Peter is getting ready to take some more flowers to Aunt May's grave, we see Peter follow Ned. And it's so funny because it's just like any other like anybody else, this shit would be weird as fuck. Like anybody else, this shit would be weird, but of course it's not weird because it's Peter Parker. But do see that like Ned has like this whole spider tracker thing where he's trying to figure out who Spider-Man is. And his reasoning is so sweet. He's just like, I just want to thank him. Like I just want to tell him thank you because he's helped me and my friends in so many situations, especially when we were in school. And I've never been able to thank him. And it's just like, oh. And it's almost like a destiny thing where it's just like, you when you missing something, you missing something, and you can tell that Ned feels like he's missing something, and it sucks, but I love it. We also find out that Ned and MJ lived together. They moved in after they graduated, which in No Way Home, I think they were talking about living together while they were in school. But here they live together while they have graduated. And I think it's interesting, and I at first when he kinda mentioned when Ned mentions to the cashier that that he had developed an energy drink addiction, I was like, "Okay, maybe he's just, being funny or like laughing it off like it's not a big deal." So I'm like, "Okay, it's not a big deal." But then we actually see MJ and she's like, "Yo," she's talking to her boyfriend we're not who was will not be named. She's talking to her boyfriend and she's like, "Yo, look what I lifted off of him." Like, so we see that this is actually a real issue. Um, I know I am alone in the idea that Ned Leeds is probably gonna turn into the Hobgoblin because of circumstances. I know that I'm alone in that theory. But just know that I said that theory right here. I said that theory right freaking here, but I do know that I tend to be alone in that theory. Um, and I know, but I think that, like, Ned having, like, this, energy drink addiction and, like, we kinda see that he, like, he's a little bit alone, kinda, but of course he would be because his best friend, like, the other half of his friend group is gone. And, like, him and Peter seem to have been close for so long and, he was his man in the chair, and that's a huge piece of Ned gone. So, I do think that he would be trying to fill that void with a lot of different things, and I hate that it looks like it's going that route, but I also don't know if I want him to be, like, mind controlled either, so I enjoy it either way, but I do think that Ned Leeds is gonna turn into the Hobgoblin, but we're gonna see, okay? Um, so John Bernthal, I feel like I don't need to say this. Well, no, I don't have to say this because it's very fucking obvious, but I need to say this. John Barenthal's Punisher is fucking amazing. Like because it's so versatile. Like we get angry Punisher, we get annoyed Punisher, we get a punitive Punisher where he's like just a jackass to uh to Daredevil and we get funny Punisher and we get um, we get a Punisher who cries with Spider-Man, and I love it because first of all, like there's no way for this thing to be intertwined the way it needs to be intertwined if Punisher and Spider-Man are not teaming up. They're both street level characters and they both should be on the fucking street. I don't ever want to see Punisher in space. For what? Is he gonna shoot the niggas? No. Put Punisher on the goddamn ground where he's supposed to be, and I love it. I love it. Go home, Frank. No. Like, and like legit, I'm not okay, so I can't say that I'm not a fan of I'm everywhere, but I can't say that I'm not a fan of Deadpool. And when I say Deadpool, I don't mean actual Deadpool. I mean that man that plays I really can't think of his name right now, and that's why I'm calling him that man. I'm not necessarily trying to throw salt at that man, but I can't think of his name. And the way that the Blade shit went, I just right now I'm just I remembered. Okay, I would love to see Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man, John Bernthal's Punisher, and Ryan Reynolds Deadpool interact, because good God, that shit would be hilarious. But anyway, we're gonna move past that. But John Bernthal is a fucking fantastic Punisher. Let's talk about the Jean Grey of it all. Yes, every fucking outlet said that Sadie Sink's character was playing Jean Grey. I was still holding out hope that that was not how we were going to introduce the fucking mutants. Even though we have introduced the mutants before. I guess we can I don't no, because we've introduced the Xavier Institute at the end of the Marvels. So I don't necessarily know what to call this, but I will say that I do not understand Jean Grey in a Spider-Man movie, and honestly, they made it work. They made it work. They took something and made it work. They kinda clicked it together and kinda made it work, but at the end of the day, yeah, no, I was like, Jean Grey in a Spider-Man movie, like, why? But I will say this, I did predict, or I did have this thought or this theory, which one day I'm gonna put together, like, a space where we can theory craft together because I love this, but so I was saying that I felt like they were kinda basing this movie off of the Spider-Man animated series episode where Spider-Man goes to talk to the X-Men. And essentially it kind of does play like that, but of course, like it's the MCU, so you take out the comic correct characters and then you kind of place in the people you want into the movie. So instead of going to the Xavier Institute to talk to them about mutations, he goes to the Hulk, or he goes to Dr. Banner, who is a genius in mutations also, or who is currently studying the mutation of his body. So he goes to, you know, he goes to Bruce Banner, which I feel like is, that's kind of one to one. Like there's a few people you can go to in the Marvel universe, not necessarily the MCU, but the Marvel universe, and talk to about mutations. And if Professor Xavier is not available, then I think Bruce Banner will be the next person because he did mutate his DNA with gamma radiation. Okay, so but like it kind of plays out like that same animated episode where he does go see the X-Men. And when he does go see the X-Men and everybody's like basically telling him like you're a mutant, you're a mutant. And he's like, I'm not a mutant, I'm just mutating and I don't want to be a mutant. And then and then Wolverine gets mad and Wolverine's like, what you mean you don't want to be a mutant? But we do find out that his DNA is mutating, and it's, he decide like, kinda in the moment of talking to Bruce Banner, he has a moment where he's like, "Well, I could create an inhibitor chip," which is why I put the popcorn bucket review behind the paywall. The inhibitor chip is a big plot point of the movie, and I didn't wanna necessarily talk about it, but it was an inhibitor chip on the back of the popcorn bucket. So, moving past that, we see him and Dr. Banner actually have a conversation, and it's funny because he asked Peter like, "Are you you're not one of my students, are you?" Like he kind of just kind of remembers him a little bit. Not remembers him, but he's like on to the fact that he does not like this is not his student. And he's like, "I'm a grad student," and he doesn't know where he's going. And I'm just like, "So did did Peter never go to Empire State?" Like, is that where we're cause I guess I just figured he took classes while he's Spider-Man, but it wasn't part of the montage, so I guess maybe not, but he did have an Empire State hoodie. So, I don't know, and I guess the question is what would he have majored in? I don't know. Like, Peter is very smart, but I think that him going to college and, having the friendships that he does creates a lot of the craziness in his life, but also helps him out too. But I don't think we're doing the Dr. Ock. We're not doing Doc Ock, and I don't think we're doing Lizard. So I guess there's no reason, but I kind of like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. All right. So Sadie Sink is Jean Grey. I don't like it, but I just feel like they recently announced who, Emma Emma Stone, Jesus Christ, child. They just announced who Emma Frost is going to be, and I'm, like, here, like, "Wait, hold on, wait," because shorty that's playing Emma Frost looks 30, and Jean Grey, Sadie Sink's Jean Grey looks like a teenager. I don't know how old Sadie Sink is. I am not familiar with the actress. I'm not familiar with the things she's done. I may have seen something she was in and not known that she was in it or who she was, but like she looks like a teenager to me. So yeah, I don't know where the mutant age range is going. And I haven't been able to talk to my internet friends yet about all of this, so that's that. But yeah, I don't necessarily know where they're going with the mutant age range because Sadie Sink looks like a teenager, and then the girl who's playing Emma Frost looks like she's in her 30s. So I'm not sure. But I do like the fact that they created, um they created homework because 'cause I'm sure that everybody went home and either turned on New Rock Stars or turned on Screen Crush or turned on, like, uh whomever they get their information from or looked it up and was like, "Who is Sarah Gray?" And Sarah Gray is Jean Grey's sister. And, I think that Sarah Gray ends up getting powers later on after she is presumed dead, but in the grand scheme of the of the Marvel universe of the comics, I think she isn't as big, but she is definitely a part of the MCU. And I think later on, she becomes very big, but I know that everybody went home and Googled who is Sarah Gray. And yes, Jean Grey does have a sister, and there are different depending upon what universe you're talking about. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Sorry about that. I had to go check on the munchkin. Okay, so yeah, like Jean Grey, Sarah Gray, yeah, we're here. All right. So a lot of people went home and probably looked up who Sarah Gray was. Uh the DODC has not been a reputable organization since they popped up. And cuz like if you remember, I want to say they kind of created they introduced the Department of Damage Control into the story with the very first Spider-Man with Homecoming, which I feel like is really funny because like the DODC has kind of like evolved with Spider-Man and become synonymous, but it does make sense because street level, that kind of thing. But yeah, so we see that the DODC is to me being shady, and William Metzger is a when I heard the name, it was almost like a red like flag or whatever. But Metzger is a anti-mutant bigot. Zion, I don't want to call him a Zionist, but anti-mutant bigot. He hates mutants. He doesn't love mutants. He is yeah, and he's in charge of the DODC, I think, at this point, or at some point, he's, like, in charge of something, and, of course, he's experimenting on them, but, like, I guess for people who read the comics, it does take you out of it because 'cause you're like, "Okay, William Mintz oh, okay, so that is Jean Grey. Alright, cool," and I was just like, "Alright, Imma let that one go," because it was kinda obvious. I was like, "Oh, yeah, of course, that's Jean Grey. Alright, so we are dealing with mutants." Um but she's looking for something called VMAX. And like at first I'm like, I'm truly like kind of stumped because I'm like, what the fuck is VMAX? In relation to Spider-Man, I'm like, what the fuck is VMAX? VMAX, what is this? What is this? What is this? And, it come to find out that her sister died and her last thought was Vent Max or something like that. And that's what she was able to blast over her last like psychic psychic blast, I guess. We do see that Sadie Sink Jean Grey is very, very strong. I don't think Jean Grey I think only in like the 616 or I think only in the 616 universe is Jean Grey just super duper fucking weak. Even, X-Men 97 is trying to give her some agency. So I will take the fact that she's super like strong. I don't know that much about Ultimate Jean Grey, which I feel like that's something that I kinda gotta, like, delve into, that's my homework, but, she is definitely stronger than I would expect Jean Grey to be, but this is the Ultimate Universe, so it could be Ultimate Jean Grey, and I don't know how strong Ultimate Jean Grey is, but that Jean Grey is extremely strong. So let's hope that there's no fucking Phoenix. Like let's hope there's no fucking Phoenix because she took over the whole fucking island. I think Frank said it was like within a kilometer radius, and all of them are just fucking stuck. They're just fucking stuck. Okay, and I thought it was funny because that's kind of how they depict Charles's powers in the first one, like, he could kinda come in your head and make everything stop, and I was just like, "Okay, so we're doing this again." But it also reminded me of Scarlet Witch, which I know people like, "Why the fuck would it?" Well, 1, because she's a fucking mutant. Scarlet Witch is a mutant, but 2, because this is the second fucking redhead to make niggas just do whatever the fuck she wanted them to do in New York. Well, no, because that was in Jersey, right? Yeah, yeah, Westview is in Jersey. So in the populous area to make you stop doing whatever the fuck you wanted to do, and we see people crying. Like, we see MJ crying, like, it's literally her power is holding them there, and it's freaky, but this is not the first redhead we've seen do it. And I will say that the red that they chose on Sadie Sink, which I'm not quite sure like, I don't think that color, that deep of a red is a natural hair color. I'm not sure because I'm not white and I don't grow red hair, and black people, we have a red hair gene, but it's not in my family. So I don't know if your hair can get that red, but that was like a candy apple red. And when I saw it, it was so like I don't know if they were trying to invoke MJ, but it definitely invoked Jean for me. And I was just like, "Yeah, that candy apple red is yeah, that's real comic accurate red right there." And so I was just like, "So if she ain't Jean Grey, then she goddamn Mary Jane from fucking who knows." But anyway, so yeah, I thought the whole storyline of her trying to get into the DODCs and save her sister because she still, is wondering if her sister was there. I thought it was really, really cool. But like, I don't know, like I guess it was the A plot that became the B plot, I guess, that getting her sister, but like her means was everything. And I didn't hate the rides through the means. Like the Hulk situation had me on the edge of my fucking seat because like that's one thing that I feel like is just you don't fuck with the Hulk's mind because there no one can control that shit. I don't give a if Bruce Banner like and it takes Bruce Banner to be like on like with an inhibitor and all of this shit to get him in check as for him to be able to like control the Hulk. So you fucking around in there and you don't even know what you're doing. You don't know like and she's kind of young, which I will say Sadie Sink's character seems like a teenager, like I said earlier. So she seems pretty young in respect of what the Hulk may have done before he was Smart Hulk or before he had the inhibitor. So like it's very possible that she doesn't even understand what she's actually doing. And I think Peter says that. He's like, you don't know what you're doing by fucking around in the Hulk's brain. And I don't think she knew, like at all. Cause like you don't fuck around in a Hulk's brain, and it's not something that you can just hold on to. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I thought that was really funny, and I just well, not funny, I thought it was crazy, and when he went full rampage, I was like, "Yes, yes, yes," because he would, like, because if you do anything else, it'd be like, that's not genuine. So I loved it. Now let's talk about Peter's transformation. I A lot of people were saying that he had already been, like, starting to go through the transformation, but I think, like, the sorrow of him not being able to spend time with or be with MJ or spend time with Ned caused his, like, caused trauma in order for him to, like, start his metamorphosis, and I think that's what like, him going to that party and seeing MJ kiss I haven't seen anybody say for sure that it's Paul, but I also was on the side of it's not Sadie Sink, so we're gonna say it's Paul. And to see her kiss him was the trauma that indeed started his metamorphosis because beforehand, before he had ran into Ned, he wasn't necessarily having these issues. And after that trauma, like that shit hurt him. Seeing her kiss bruh. And like whether it was, a good kiss, bad kiss, whatever it was, that hurt him, and he was like it started the metamorphosis because quite literally the next day he's in the fucking web cocoon. I love the fact that, like, they talk about the arachnid levels and the Peter, like, hormone levels and all of that. I thought it was really cool. Um, I love the black eyes. I thought it was dope. It does invoke, Jesus. Jesus. It does actually, invoke the symbiote, but I didn't think we were going there, and I kinda love, like, him trying instead of actually dealing with what's going on with his body, which I feel like most men do, he was like, "Nah, Imma just try I'm just trying to inhibit this shit. I was just trying to put it to the back or whatever and make sure that this shit don't, like, bother me or whatever." And I felt like that was so man, that was some man ass shit to do, and I love the fact that it just didn't work, and it took MJ coming through and being like, "Well, if you have, like, this electromagnetic field, however small it may be for the eyes, then it probably would affect, the inhibitor chip." I love the fact that she was able to, like, solve it, but I also love the fact that, like, they did that because them 3 together were like, they did solve things, and I felt like that was one of those things where he was just like, "Yeah, man, I need my friends back." It broke my heart to hear her say that she does not have those memories or feel that way about him. Although it does feel weird because it was just like, yeah, but you done came all this way, made this man take off his mask and everything. Now let me say this. When Sadie Sinks Jean Grey had MJ, I knew from them swinging over that that wasn't MJ or that MJ wasn't in control at that moment because like she has said so many times how she does not actually like to swing. Even after Sadie Sink, after everything happens with Jean Grey and there is the actual MJ, like she is freaking the hell out while like they're swinging and so I was just like, "She's, like, chilling with him swinging. That's not right." That's she's already got to her. So I was like, "Damn, man." And, like, the kiss and everything, I was like, "Oh, why are you making him kiss? You ain't gotta do that." So he like, I'm talking about, bruh, they just was breaking poor little poor little Peter Parker heart. Just this whole, like yeah, this whole everything. This whole movie. I loved their, MJ's interaction with Punisher. I loved, like, her being there and him being like she was like, "So you're not gonna help him?" And he's like, "Fuck." Also, I would like to see what happened on Long Island. Is it Long Island? Was it Long Island? I think it was Long Island. I would like to see what happened because I wanna know who's right in the situation. Did Peter save Punisher? Um I thought the last fighting scene was so fucking epic where he just like fuck all this shit and allows the the arachnid hormones to just kind of take over. 'Cause, like, it was one of those things where, like, either you gonna be one or you gonna be the other or you gonna be both, and he decided that he was gonna be both, and it was such an epic fucking scene. The way he goes up on the hand, oh, man, that shit was so epic. I loved it. Oh, I fucking loved it. And then when he gets in there and you see Jean Grey, and then, like, of course, they go through the speed run of her powers where it's like, oh, she does have this psychic blast, but she also has telekinesis. So they go through that speed run where she's holding the glass at Metzger's face. I thought that was interesting. Um, so Punisher shoots Peter. Punisher shoots Peter. Like there's no other way to put that shit. Punisher shoots Peter, and he was trying to take out Jean Grey, which damn. Okay, Frank. But he takes out Peter actually, and he shoots Peter through the back. Or it looked maybe he shot him, in like his in some kind of organ or whatever. And he instantly regrets it. Like you can tell on his face, he's like, fuck. And, at this point, he's already got Gene to, like, kinda, calm down and understand that, like, it's okay to feel grief, and I love that they use Marissa Tomei's May, and I love the fact that, like, there's if we continue to keep getting these movies, there's going to be a place to continue to bring back Marissa Tomei, and I love that. I absolutely love that, and I love that that's his safe space. Which he kinda talks about in, No Way Home, where he's, like, telling May was really messy, and that's kinda what's going on in that memory and in his head. With May, he is the moment where he told her that he was Spider-Man and that what he was doing, and I fucking loved it. I thought it was such a great, like, place, and to have May hug, Jean Grey, I thought that was really fantastic. I thought it was good that they didn't portray Jean's parents as, like, this loving, doting family because in the comics, so very often they aren't. So, I thought that was really good. The fact that she was able to keep him alive in the hospital until, like, he could breathe on his own, I would like to know how that worked. I know probably it's possible, but I just don't know how. So, I would like to know how that works. Um, but I loved it. I fucking love the idea that he was able to walk out of that bitch and nobody knew who he was because no one knows who Peter Parker is. And I think that's the love of anonymity that he has. Like he's able to be Peter Parker, be Spider-Man, take care of the world, save the world, and still be able to walk out, go home, and not be harassed. Oh, the Juicy Couture moment is straight out of the comics, and I love it. I thought it was so cute. I loved it. But I do love Tom Holland's Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man we've had, and only because we've seen him be a kid, be a teenage Spidey, and now be an adult Spidey, and I love it equally. John Bernthal's, like, standing in the fucking window and, like, with the Spidey, like with the Spidey mask on, like, "Yeah!" I thought that was so cute. It's such a good way to end it. I loved it. And, like, I love the fact that in the MCU, there is a very well-known thing that, like, some people have characters, like, some heroes are loved. Like, before this movie, the Hulk was loved, like, immensely loved. And, like, Ant-Man, not so much, remember? So, like, I love that some characters are just loved and some aren't, and Punisher got to kinda revel in that. I love that. Um, let's see. The end credit scene was to me, felt like a point or nod at the symbiote, which is w I don't I guess that's the next place you go with this. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I love that Peter actually got to spend time with Ned and MJ as Spider-Man. I love that MJ knows who Spider-Man is and knows who Peter Parker is, even though she doesn't have those memories anymore, because we can build it up again as long as we don't do no Mephisto shit or no underhand backdoor ass character Mephisto shit, then we'll be fine. I love that. I feel like Ned figured it out when he introduces himself at the coffee shop again when he's like, "Hi, I'm Peter," because remember, MJ calls Spider-Man Peter, and he's like, "Spider-Man's name is Peter," and he introduces himself to Ned as Peter. So I'm hoping that means that he knows. Like, cause then it doesn't take that long for him to get everything that he does know from that. Um, so yeah, overall, I gotta give this movie like a 8.59 out of 10. And the only reason why it's not a complete 10 is just the mutant of it all. Like the story was cohesive and it was decent and it made sense, especially with the DODC and Spider-Man and how they're so intrinsically entangled into everything that the MCU has put together for Spider-Man. So I definitely understood it on that aspect, but like I don't know if I wanted it that way. Um, the Mutant Saga is definitely coming. I don't think that Sadie Sink is a bad Jean Grey. I think it's a different Jean Grey, and I know that like we're talking about the MCU, so this Jean Grey could be talkative and overpowering and not need the Phoenix Force and all kind of shit. So who knows? I guess my only question is, are we going to go ahead and make Wanda and Pietro mutants? Even though it's already happened, I think they should go back and name that, and I think that they should give Magneto his kids. I mean, I know it's probably messy, and I know, like I said, the MCU kinda does whatever it wants to do in those situations, but I think it will be good for them. Now, let me tell you what I am worried about when moving forward with the MCU and the Mutant Saga. Mutants are intrinsically they are tied to struggle and not being the number one populace and dealing with not being the preferred people on this world. And I don't know, like Disney right now with X-Men 97 is doing a fantastic fucking job. Is doing a fantastic fucking job. But like as far as the MCU and everything that Kevin Feige is in charge of, I don't know if we're gonna get that aspect. Like they might just be superheroes fighting for superhero sake. We might not even delve into like the feelings of not being treated adequately or anything like that. So I'm praying we do well by the mutants because as you guys know, I am an X-Men fan. So I am truly praying that we do well with that. I don't I don't have much faith. I don't know how long you guys have been following me on YouTube or subscribed on YouTube, but I put out like this video like maybe 2 years ago about Mahershala Ali's Blade and how it was living in fucking development hell. And recently Kevin Feige came out and was like, he feels like a massive loser behind it. And I just was like, I knew that shit was coming. I have been saying for a very long time that the like MCU, like that Marvel Disney does not necessarily want all the diversity that Marvel is capable of and has, been for a while as a comic book company. But like if you're going to keep telling these same stories with these white characters, then it's not going to be a whole lot to tell. And so I don't really know what the plan is. Like I have full like and you'll hear me say a lot of times like I trust Kevin Feige. I trust the writers of Avatar. I with their own with their own properties, I trust these people because the whole reason why I love these properties, especially the MCU movies and not necessarily the comics, is because you brought us great products. So I have to be on the side of I trust these people, but honestly, from what Disney has given us, it does not seem to, be in the best place for us to trust. But I do hope that we can get to a place of I hope we can get to a place of appreciating what we do have. Cause even in a movie, like it's a scene that I didn't necessarily talk about because like people love Yelena Belova and I don't hate her. I think that she was great in Widow. I love the Black Widow movie. A lot of people didn't, but I thought it was really good. I wish we would have got it before, in game and everything before the character died. But I did love her in the Black Widow movie. I did not watch Thunderbolts. I have still not watched Thunderbolts. I'm not going to watch Thunderbolts, but I was in a situation where I was kinda like, "Well, why is he going to see Yelena when Captain America is right there?" Like, I was just kinda like, "Why is he going to see Yelena?" And I know that, like, the big potatoes, small potatoes, big potatoes conversation happened, and I'm just kinda like, "How are y'all handling big potato shit when there is a whole ass Captain America?" Now, here's the other part. I do know that we can do West Coast Avengers. I do know a lot of people are pulling for West Coast Avengers, and I'm not mad at y'all. I get it. But I just I don't know, like, with a whole ass Captain America here, like, he's Cap. So if I'm going to anybody, I'm going to Cap. But yeah, I don't know. The bathhouse situation was cool. I like the, bit. Um, yeah. Yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of that, but I don't know. I don't know where he coulda went to go see Cap at for that, but yeah. I saw a lot of people online saying that the Hulk remembered Peter, and I don't know if it was something that I missed. Did he say Peter? Because I have seen that happen before in the comics and in the cartoon. So if I missed that, let me know because I didn't see that, but um I did enjoy the Hulk's scenes, like, I thought it was really dope, like, I was on the edge of my seat for the whole, like, sequences with the Hulk, because that's just not some shit you do, but I also, like, was very much so reminded that, Mark Ruffalo has not been promoting these movies, and for probably not even for probably, for good reason, but, yeah, I don't wanna say that I have superhero fatigue because I don't. I don't have to I want more. Like, that's not an issue for me, but what is an issue is, like, the Wonder Man cancelment of it all. And I'm only addressing this now because I'm on live and I got a little time to kinda bullshit with y'all. Like, the Wonder Man being canceled shit sucked. And it's right after we're talking about Emmy shit. Like, so it's just like, what are y'all what not even what are y'all doing anymore because I know exactly what y'all are doing. It's just like if you're not gonna fuck with it, just don't fuck with it, like, and I think that's part of it. Yeah, man, I really enjoyed Spider-Man. I love Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I love Zendaya's MJ. I really, really, really enjoyed Spider-Man. And that's really all I can say. I will probably try. I will try to get to the theater again so that I can actually do a breakdown so we can talk about the Easter eggs and all the great things like that. But for the most part, like that is everything that stood out to me. Like I said, the movie was fantastic. I really hope you guys went and seen it before you watch this review because I do let go of a lot of details in this review. But yeah, I really enjoyed it and I hope you guys enjoy it too. But yes, that is all for tonight's stream. I will be like I said, I will be releasing the X-Men episodes probably all week. They will probably be coming out all week. We'll definitely have a Saturday Morning Heroes this week. We are going to try and figure out how we are going to do this review in garden because I do have a storm comic that I want to review that I want to tell y'all about the storyline for, and I want to smoke with y'all. So we're gonna figure out how to make that happen. But for until then, and there will be more announcements. I'm gonna get into the mode of making more announcements and everything. But yeah, and here's the thing, guys. If you want any kind of content early, if you want to see like the inside of my life, or if you want like makeup details, hair details, anything like that, please go over to my Patreon and subscribe to my Patreon. That is the only place you're gonna get those things. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, all of those places are like YouTube and that's it. Like, it's like Marvel, DC, all the shows and everything that I cover, Invincible, all of that is on social media and you can have it for free. We can talk about it for free, all of those things. But anything personal, like what I wear on my face, what I put in my hair, like how I do my hair, anything like that, that is behind a paywall. If you would like to go behind the paywall and see what I'm doing over on my, Patreon, you can. The link is in my bio. The link is always in the video descriptions on every video that I put out. You can go and follow me on all of the social medias, and I will talk to you guys. You can watch my stories, and I'll talk back, and all of those great things. But yes, anything personal, like personal, and I will be doing a few try on hauls because I am trying to get Small Time World back up. So I have to like, pick out some clothes for a wardrobe for hosting. So I will be doing that on Patreon. Like I'm really trying to get into the mode of vlogging every day so that I can put content up over there every day so you guys really have something to really dig into. But it's gonna probably be like me going to pick up my child, me gardening, me going shopping, me handling business, me working. It's that kind of content. So if you're interested in that, then that will be the place to go for that. But yes, guys, I do appreciate you guys, and we are clocking in at an hour and 2 minutes, so it is time for me to get off of here. But if you watch this live, I appreciate you. If you watch the replay of this live, I appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share. Make sure you go and get my Patreon if you want. You would like to see those kinds of things. And yes, guys, thank you, heroes. I appreciate you guys, and I will talk to y'all later.